things that we're doing with Jack, we're trying to help him with his leg endurance, his leg power, his ability to keep himself from falling backwards, and his sense of balance. As I mentioned, he will be doing a little bit with his eyes closed, and you'll see that during portions of the session as well. Jack's very independent in this program, doesn't require a lot of direct supervision to carry out the program, and that's another added benefit, that I can challenge Jack, know that he's not at risk for falling, and I can measurably see improvements in his gains that we're doing with other objective measures that are not pool-based. And so I look for all those things to ensure that we're giving him a quality program. So as mentioned previously, Jack's going to start the program at 1.4 miles per hour. When he started his program with us, we were doing this portion at 0.8 miles an hour. We've been steadily increasing this, and as noted, he'll be progressively taking his hands off of the bars and trying to perform the dynamic balance functions on his own. Later, we'll be adding the resistance jets back into the program. At this point, we're going to have Jack try the same capacities but against the resistance jets. So we'll be doing this to improve his capacity for power. All right, Jack, drive against it. See what you can do. 4 minutes, sir. When Jack's done with this portion of the program, we'll shut the resistance jets off briefly, shut the treadmill off fully, and have him work on his capacity to hold his position in space while he's doing some force work with his arms. Okay, Jack, you know what to do.
Throw it out.
Throw it out. Show us what you got. Now if you watch closely, Jack will lose his balance backwards or posterior many times when he's trying to lift. Well, you ready, Jack? Okay, push it down, pull it up. Here comes the jets. Now he'll steadily progress himself forward. He likes to start back and then work up against the resistance jets. It should make sense to all of you watching that the closer he is to the resistance jets, the greater the force that he has to withstand. Peripheral neuropathy is a very challenging condition to try to improve a patient in. Because of the loss of sensory capacity, the loss of motor function, the confidence that comes with the dynamic balance impairment, all of those things combined cause an individual to become less active. Then you've got a deconditioning component that accumulates on top of all of the impairment itself. So to get Jack to work so aggressively, intensively, helps us with the deconditioning, and we can challenge his balance and help him to sense where to detect a loss of balance early as soon as it occurs. Even if he can't feel what's happening at his heels or his feet, he can begin to detect it at his hips or at his back, so he knows what it feels like to lose a balance more promptly and more accurately for a correction of balance in real life. Okay, we're going to change the direction of the perturbation now in balance, and Jack's going to work on core control and dynamic balance simultaneously. He's going to have a tennis racket in his hands. He's going to attempt to move it side to side, as you can see him working on there in the pool, against the resistance jets, while he's trying to additionally hold himself stationary and stable in the water. He has to fight hard to keep himself from leaning backwards. And you'll see him stagger there occasionally, and that's when we're getting a therapeutic effect on his balance. If he never loses it, we're not pushing it hard enough. point, we're going to shut off the resistance jets. We're going to go back to the treadmill. We'll do the multi-directional walking that I explained to you earlier, that Jack's going to try to change directions for dynamic balance. Consistent with neuropathy, it's hard for Jack to move his ankles in directions other than toes down, plantar flexion. Hard for him to do dorsiflexion, very hard for inversion or eversion. So he's going to have to work on that a little bit to negotiate a change in balance while he's turning. Okay, Jack, slow your turns down a little bit. Stay in one direction a little bit longer, 4 to 5 steps, before you make the next turn. See if you can begin to, again, wean yourself away from the need for both hands on at all times. There you go. That's Jack's no hand impression. Good job.
My right leg doesn't know what it's doing.
That's a very astute comment on Jack's part. He says, my right leg doesn't know what it's doing. So if you can imagine the prospect of him attempting anything remotely similar to this on land would be very challenging. I would have my hands on a gait belt on him nearly all the time. Any loss of balance that he would have would be very tempting for me to make an immediate correction on his gait belt rather than to allow him to attempt that here independently in the pool, knowing that he's not going to harm himself. Okay, the final portion of Jack's program today will also have the treadmill off with jets on. As I mentioned to you earlier, he's going to have his eyes closed. Jack's going to attempt to stand as close as he can to the resistance jets with his eyes closed and hands off the parallel bars, trying to be able to tolerate a persistent perturbation that's going to try to tip him backwards. Okay. We're at eyes closed, hands off, jets on, stand as close as you can. You can start back and gradually nudge yourself forward. Treadmill will be off. Just in case you can't see it right now in the camera, Jack's eyes are closed. So he's walked up against the resistance jets with his hands off, with his eyes closed at this point. When he loses his balance, the parallel bars are always there for him, and he'll try it again. That's the end of Jack's pool program. As you can see, he's been challenged with his balance, with his endurance, with his strength or power, if you will, in attempts to walk against resistance. Jack's also had a little bit of fun here today, if he'll admit it, and that's a good combination. He enjoys what he's doing, he's being challenged by what he's doing, and he's getting good skilled therapy. Excellent job, Jack. I appreciate it.
Good job.